Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaram, and this is a World of Warcraft update, a type of video where we go over a couple different news that I just want to cover for you guys. This type of video is there for you guys to be in the know, but also for open discussion, so feel free to use the comment section to respond or make discussions on any of the topics we talk about today. As always, I don't want to sound like I'm begging, but if you guys enjoy this type of video, please give me a like. It isn't something I do often, so you guys' input, what you think I can improve with, always helps. Anyway, let's get on into the news itself. If you have pre-purchased the BlizzCon ticket, whether you are US, EU, or wherever, you might have noticed in your Battle.net app that WoW Classic is downloadable. It is the demo, and it's only about 11 gigs, but I do think it is basically the whole game, because how big was World of Warcraft Vanilla when it first released? I just looked it up online. Apparently World of Warcraft itself, back when Vanilla, was about 5 gigabytes or so, and maybe 6 if you were playing private servers and had new model updates and a few patches added and a bunch of add-ons and whatnot. But this tells us that we have 11 gigs for a game that's normally 5 gigs, and all we're downloading is the demo. Makes me think we're not actually just downloading the demo. Makes me wonder if the game is actually pretty close to completion. I know what they're basically doing is putting on the skin of vanilla WoW, but there's a lot more under the hood. They're adding a lot more UI options, and they're making it run better with, better software, better systems, so you'll be able to break the 60 FPS if you ever played way back on classic servers. So there's a lot of background things going on, but it makes me wonder, is it really gonna be all that background stuff worth of 5 extra gigs? I think Blizzard might have more of the game done than what they're telling us, and makes me wonder when it'll be released. There have been speculations, and the one that I've heard of my viewers tell me that Asmongold believes maybe on 15th anniversary for World of Warcraft would be about a good time to release Classic WoW. By then, BFA would have run its course for majority of the expansions, and we probably would be maybe on the last or pre-last raid, and there won't be really a lot more to do besides, the same regular content we've had or would have by then, which I think will be more than what we have right now, but still, regardless, it'll be similar to Legion and Antorus. Unless you were doing the final raid, trying to get cutting edge, there wasn't really a lot of new stuff to explore. So maybe by then, Classic WoW might be released, which would be super exciting. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. In the second bit of news, apparently there was some changes to Warlock and other classes casting animations, but a very slight one that not a lot of people can notice. If you're casting instacast abilities like Agony, Corruption, Flame Shock, Shadow Word Pain, Fire Blast, or Ice Lance, and you can test to see if your animation looks any different. I don't think a lot of you guys will notice a major difference, but apparently there was a change. Same thing goes for Shaman, Lava Bursting, Healing Wave, and Warlock, Unstable Affliction, Chaos Bolt, and Demon Bolt. I knew that Demonology Warlock already had some new animations already in play, but I guess they brought it up for Chaos Bolt and Unstable Affliction. Honestly, I didn't even notice any spell change animations, but if you play any of those classes and cast any of those abilities, feel free to see if there's any difference on live in PTR. It's hard to tell. Blizzard have also added a brand new currency. Again, it seems like they're solving a lot of these issues that are helping or happen in the game with currencies. And it's actually good for multiple reasons, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit because I feel like that's a topic of its own. But they've also added a 7th Legion commendations, and they added one for the Horde as well. I just don't really know where he is at. So I guess we will be in front of the command table, but when you talk to them, you get a couple things. You get, first of all, 7th Legion Commendation, a commendation for actions taken in the battlefields of Kul Tiras, Zandalar, active Warfronts for the Alliance. So I'm guessing it's for winning Warfronts. It doesn't actually have, it has here like a reward for winning a 340, but I'm pretty sure they'll add a 340 and like commendations, or maybe it's for the events that you do in the Arathi. Maybe you can even go and kill rares in Arathi, or I guess Darkshore, after your faction has taken it, to get these rewards or the commendations. We don't know how you get them, but now you get goodies. You have stuff like, hey, transmog appearance for a war-torn cloak. Pretty cool looking. Then there's a royal blue cloak if you want to get a full complete version, and it has nice border design. It's like actually really very well updated and everything, looking good. You also got pets, which is cool. You got mounts, which people are going to want to buy, like this blue scorpion, wild blue venom tail. And then you have the big one, the cool one. Oh, Priestess's Moon Saber. So Blizzard is adding a lot of these currencies to give people a reason to run these Warfronts, to have a long-term goal. I think it's good because now you know what you're striving for. Then of course there's also a 350 ring, teleports the caster to Dazar Allure. I'm pretty sure this is not supposed to be Dazar Allure. Pretty sure for Alliance it's supposed to be Borealis, and for the Horde, Dazar Allure. But this character is a transfer from a Horde character, so it probably takes that data, and that'll be probably patched at a later time. But I think this is good. I mean, look at this cool looking mount. It looks absolutely amazing. And now people know exactly how many of those combinations they need in order to unlock it. Hell, if they want to unlock everything, if they want to unlock all the transmog appearances for the cloaks, they want to unlock the pet, and they want to unlock the this blue scorpion as well as the mount, the main one, the priestess's moon saber. Like, there's actually a reason for it. What's good about these currencies, and the fact that Blizzard is adding a lot of these currency systems into the game, is it gives people a finite amount of like how much effort they need to do. What's the reason, what's the point, what's the purpose of doing any of these activities? Because until then it was completely random. You would go into a Warfront and every time you would do one, random pieces of gear would drop to you. But there was nothing for you to get from the Warfront that was like, you know, you earned it kind of deal. Right? If you see someone who run with the Priestess Moonsaber, then people will know that that person has done a lot of Warfronts, enough to earn this mount. And they'll probably add more stuff as it goes on, as more like styles of Warfronts are added. Like for example, the first one is the Battle for Stormguard, the humans versus orcs, very Warcraft 3. Battle for Darkshore, which is covering like the brand new scars that have been, I guess, made between the undead and the night elves. Not only do you get the themed gear for both sides, you also get the themed playstyle, the themed, I guess, things being added, like the cloaks being added or the Priestess Moonsaber being added. So it gives people reasons to do these things, like kind of more than once. Because normally people would just do them for that free 370 piece of gear for doing one of the battles and whatever 340s, and that's it. And you were done. And now there's a reason for you to do it multiple times over. And yes, you might not like the way Warfronts are done. You might not even like how long they take. You might not even like that they may be really easy and simplistic. But for doing enough of these, you can get a mount. For doing enough of these, you can get transmogs. You can get stuff that you can carry with your character. So I feel like it gives them a lot more value and a lot more of importance. Whether it is something you want to grind out in literally a week, or if it's something you want to grind out over the course of the expansion, it doesn't make a difference. You could still do it. So there's a reason to do it. If you have a bunch of friends you want to hop in, you can do that. You have a bunch of guilds you want to grind it out for an hour or two, you want to join the company, you know, you can do that too. I feel like it gives a lot more, I guess, more reasons to want to do these type of activities rather than your basic obligations of a free 370 or so, you know, and then let all the RNG kind of do everything for you. It gives things purpose, a lot more purpose than normal. And this is like the old school system of what people used to do in previous expansions, and it's kind of good that Blizzard, I think, is falling back to these type of features. Everybody seems to be happy about it. We'll find out if that's how they truly feel when patch 8.1 releases, but I don't think it'll be one of those things like you think you do but you don't type of deal, and it does look good. I'm actually excited to get into it. Anyway, let's get with the rest of the video. Finally, we'll be talking about the idea of choosing your own quest lines and choosing how you want to perceive the world. I feel like in World of Warcraft, the choice hasn't really been there. It's been a theme park MMO. Usually you have a quest line and a quest story and you follow everything to a T. In Battle for Azeroth, it is a little bit different, and people have been asking for this choice actually for a bit, especially with how BFA has been going. While Alliance has it for the most part peachy and clean, there's not really a lot of infighting going on. For the Horde though, it's a whole another exciting story. For World of Warcraft, on the Horde side in Battle for Azeroth, there is two sides to the tale. There's the Sylvanas, the brand new leader of the Horde that is, well, basically a war criminal. But the way that she does to kind of fight tooth and nail is very much to the idea of, I guess, what the Forsaken faction would do. Fighting tooth and nail to the very bitter end, but just to make sure you get the victory regardless. And then there's the Horde, the orcs, the trolls, and the tauren, which are the more honorable and the value, the idea of honor before any kind of battle. It's all about blood and, you know, murder and violence, but very much with honor. So you have two different sides of the coin. We have Sylvanas and you have Saurfang leading kind of like the honorable Horde charge. which is why you saw Saurfang in the Battle for Lordaeron kind of defect from Sylvanas' horde, saying that that is not the horde, that is not honor, this is not me. So as part of the storyline in Battle for Azeroth, I don't want to get too spoilery, but we will see Saurfang again, and Zappy Boy on top of that. But again, I'll try to talk in general terms, just so it's not spoilery, because this isn't a spoiler video. But as per usual, we all expected, you'll probably have to make a choice. It won't be some crazy choice between like Saurfang and Sylvanas, who will be your war chief, but it will be a choice regardless, and there will be a quest line where you come to a crossroads. Apparently in the quest line, you can either support Zappy Boy and Saurfang, as Blizzard expected for most players to do, or you can choose to support the Queen of the Undead, the war chief Sylvanas. And a lot of players actually like that idea. When it comes to branching quest lines and having, like, you know, certain players choose this quest while certain players choose others, Blizzard isn't really great and never really done a huge amount of, at least in World of Warcraft, of these different branching quest lines where you can have multiple players start at one point and then they end in multiple different instances. Like, you can say in an instance where a group of players chooses to support the current war chief Sylvanas, while in the other they go and help Saurfang. It's not like really Mass Effect. You're not really going to have some crazy different outcomes, but you are going to be able to make a choice between the war chief or Saurfang, between the standing war chief Sylvanas. If you do, I mean, she's a war criminal, but if you choose to agree with her, and plus most of the horde war chiefs have been war criminals in one way or another, who gives a damn really? It's interesting. So when you have this environment where you have the Horde and Alliance still fighting each other, with Battle for Azeroth really trying to make you feel like there's real Horde versus Alliance conflict, but you also have this middle ground infighting between Sylvanas and Saurfang. You have the differences between Sylvanas' Horde and what Saurfang perceives as a Horde, after he has been one of the, I guess, leaders of the Horde, even though there's been so many different war chiefs, whether it was Thrall and his heroic leadership, whether it was Garrosh and him becoming a war criminal, for a short time Vol'jin, and now Sylvanas. The Horde has gone through so many different key players back to back to back, especially since Garrosh into Vol'jin into Sylvanas. It was a kind of a radical turn altogether. So if you're someone who pay attention to the story, this will be intriguing. This is actually interesting. It adds a little bit of that juiciness to it, I guess, is the best way to put it. The game doesn't really put you on rails, unlike in previous expansions and storylines. You kind of just had to go with the story. You just had the choice made up for you. Here you can actually make the choice yourself, which is new and kind of exciting. I mean, there's so many different complexities that come with this Battle for Azeroth theme, and they could really explore on top of this stuff, but if they just write off Sylvanas as just another potential bad guy, doesn't actually have a, I guess, a reason of her own, and then Saurfang is by default the good guy, probably going to be the next war chief. I mean, it just kind of sets the story up, and it's like kind of predictable. But when you can make a choice who you want to support, you don't know where it's gonna go. I like that. I like that precedence. If Blizzard could do more stuff like that, not really exactly, you know, branching storylines, because let's say you do one quest, you get a certain reward, and you do the other quest, you get another reward, so you're missing out on one of the rewards unless you get an alt or something to run through it, which I guess is maybe what they want you to do if you really want to get like all the toys and collectibles and all that stuff. I don't know. I think it's very interesting, and I think it sets up to say that maybe Blizzard is going to do something different. I mean, with the recent, I guess, negativity, they have been taking a lot of good steps in the right direction. The currencies, and then there's also the WoW Classic coming out. That's good, super exciting. That gets more hype for the game in general, but the currencies added into the game, the changes being added in 8.1, the Azerite traits and class changes that are getting added, like a lot of the stuff is really, really good, and then they go and add this to the story, and everybody's like, oh, that's so good. Well, people that, I guess, like the story, they actually are super happy with it. So this is good. I think it's kind of like they're turning a lot of this stuff around, and unless they were already planning on making stuff like this before, which I don't think so. I think people originally came out and said, we don't like that there's no choice, and then they go add it in there, and it's like, oh, well then. Unless they were planning all this stuff and they were lowballing us just so we can get disappointed, and then they could just huddle over our expectations after they have been lowered to the ground, so it would be as small of a hurdle to jump over. Unless this was all pre-planned, get my goddamn tinfoil hat or something. This is good. Overall, I don't know, man. I'm actually excited. I'm not somebody who really paid attention to the story that much, but it'll be super fun to get to that branching point. Hopefully I didn't spoil too much for you guys. You don't know exactly what the story is, although you do know that you'll have to make a choice between one or the other. I don't think it'll be some insane choice, and it won't be hugely punishing whether you do one or the other. But anyway, just know that there will be one in the future. If you want to check it out, of course, there'll be a WoW head with all the spoiler stuff. Yeah, I guess that's everything I got for the day. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, find my Discord, all that good jazz, all in the description down below, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.